Good morning, everybody, and welcome to today's episode of Market Check, brought to you, of course, by Because Bitcoin. Happy Tuesday, everybody. It is still Bitcoin spot ETF week. The announcement and launch all likely happening this week. What a milestone for Bitcoin. And like we said yesterday, pretty much de facto validation of Bitcoin as it kind of looks to graduate into a more matured asset class. So not just a milestone for Bitcoin, but pretty cool for everybody who's been in crypto for a few years to be able to kind of see this through and actually, see it happening. And it does seem by all stretches of the imagination that it will be done this week, both the announcement as well as the launching of the ETF. The only question is how we're going to trade into and how we're going to trade out of these events, right? It should be a week with lots of volatility. And we're here to cover it for all of you guys. But I'm Snorlax. You guys also know me as Tommy. I'm joined by Max, Tucker, and Dr. Will's Janet Yellen Outlook.
Welcome. Hey, Tommy, he actually goes by Reverend Outlook right now.
He is going by Reverend Outlook right now. He's going to be the person who's going to marry Tucker and his beautiful fiance. But yeah, guys, real quickly before we get started, cooking and sharing that alpha. We always appreciate when you guys smash that like button. It's ETF week. We had 85 likes last week. I want to get to 3 digits today. We can get to 100 likes. We absolutely can. And I'm sure I'm going to bug you again, either me or Max, or maybe even Dr. Outlook. But we're going to bug you again for some likes. It always means a lot to us when you guys enjoy our content. And a reminder that there is no second best daily YouTube live stream to talk about these markets. And I guess Twitter live stream now too. Although I know Wabi would have something to say about that with Market Talk. So we won't encroach upon the Twitter sphere. We are a YouTube show first and foremost. But yesterday was kind of crazy, right? I mean, at least for Bitcoin to start the week. I feel like now, we're not necessarily in a space where we can take away a ton of big conclusions yet, but I think we can kind of sculpt at the very least a plan for the next few days and the next few weeks. And, Bitcoin had that big run up to start the week. It's kind of consolidating, going sideways here. I thought Dr. Outlook asked a great question before we went live. What do you think Bitcoin's going to do here? And we're going to talk about that on this show, specifically about whether or not we think that Bitcoin goes sideways here. Does it go up from here? Does it pull back from here? There are a lot of questions, but I think the most notable thing that's kind of occurring within the crypto market right now is actually happening in Ethereum. You're having the natural liquidity vacuum effect that Bitcoin tends to have, and it is really reaping the consequences, not just on the altcoin market, as it has, at times throughout this entire year, but especially on Ethereum, it does look like we are seeing ETH Bitcoin probably in its capitulatory leg at this point. Probably we'll find, and this is something that we talked about too, right? Into ETF week, we would probably see ETH Bitcoin put in some sort of wick on the announcement. It might be like a weekly wick or a monthly wick. I'm not sure. But some sort of wick on ETH Bitcoin coming into and out of the Bitcoin spot ETF that would probably bottom ETH Bitcoin. And, right now, ETH is trying to form a bottom. ETH Bitcoin is trying to form a bottom. I don't know that we're quite there yet. I'm sure that's something that we'll talk about on this stream as well, guys. But not too much to talk about in equity land today either. We are kind of reverting the move that we had yesterday a little bit, but I still maintain that we're probably going to see positive flows carry the market higher into the middle of January. But welcome, guys. Happy Tuesday. Hope everybody had a great start to their week. Like I said at the start of the show, I would love to know what you guys are kind of seeing in the markets and how you're interpreting both the behavior of Bitcoin and Ethereum, kind of combating against each other right now, right? Yeah, because it does kind of feel like Bitcoin is stealing a lot of the liquidity from Ethereum as we speak.
Yeah, a lot of great points there, Tommy. And look who we got! Look who we got! We got the man. Hang on. There we go. He's back, baby. Let's go. It's been a long time since we've seen Dr. Outlook, man. There's been some construction at his residence or near his residence. They've been shaking the earth beneath him, messing up his fiber optic, everything, man. It's been a disaster, but I love seeing all the faces. I love seeing it. All right. So I titled today's show, everybody. I titled today's show "The Death of ETH BTC" in the bottom. I think Tommy's one that remembers this as well. But last cycle, there was a very prominent, popular space that was titled "The Death of ETH BTC" or "The Death of Ethereum." ETH BTC breaks below 0.02. All right, that was the space, and that marked like the pico bottom for ETH. So I'm hoping that this is enough to manifest that bottom, because it's a shame watching Ethereum effectively die against Bitcoin. It's not fun. Levels are being sliced through, but you know what? It's okay. It's okay.
I don't know. High time frames say a little bit different, but you can go and keep cooking.
Yeah. So lower time frames, right? It looks bad, but here's the thing. I'm going to start with this point, and I've said it a dozen times. All right, but I'm going to say it again. December has the highest 180-day ROI for ETH USD and for ETH BTC. Okay. It is January 9th. We are effectively 1 week into 2024. And we know that December has had the highest 6-month return for Ethereum against its US dollar pair and against its Bitcoin pair. And we also have the headwind for Ethereum against Bitcoin and the tailwind for Bitcoin against Ethereum of being roughly 24 to 48 hours out from a spot Bitcoin ETF being approved. It's no wonder that ETH is getting smoked against Bitcoin. Why wouldn't it? It's so obvious. Then you might say, well, Max, why did you buy a bunch of ETH if it was so obvious? I may have been a little early. I may have just bought some ETH. I'm up in US dollar terms, but it's certainly bleeding against Bitcoin. But I also own Bitcoin and a bunch of other stuff. But no doubt it's been a portion of my portfolio that has been lagging. But I have been down this road with Ethereum before. Last cycle, I was very, very heavy Ethereum, watching it capitulate below 0.02. But I actually think that, we can very clearly identify the signs of capitulation. We are in capitulation territory for Ethereum against Bitcoin. Now, here's the thing about capitulation. You don't exactly know where the bottom of capitulation is. It's about like a 30 to 40% window. So could we go lower from here? ETH BTC? Absolutely. Do I think we're probably closer to a bottom? Yeah, I think we're probably kind of close to a bottom. I'm going to continue to hold my ETH. I don't really have an ETH BTC invalidation unless we get like really low and something is, seriously wrong with ETH, because I do have conviction that as Bitcoin probably pushes above 50K and pressures its all-time high, then you're going to start to see that rotation. And again, I'm swing trading this, right? I have more conviction in this 6-month play for ETH than most do. And I'm able to drown out that static and a lot of that noise because I'm as Jerome Powell says, we remain data dependent here at Because Bitcoin. And I have the data on my side. I have the historical patterns on my side. And if it doesn't work out, that's okay. I'm willing to accept that. I'm not all in ETH, but I still am very bullish Ethereum here. I don't think it's going anywhere. And I think it's just a matter of time before a lot of these negative catalysts actually turn positive, or the negative sentiment around it turns positive. For example, the most obvious one that I see immediately flipping, probably like February when ETH starts moving, is going to be, oh, well, the fees are just too expensive on Ethereum. Who would want to ape shit coins on ETH when you have to pay $50 in gas or whatever? Well, guess what? Those fees are going to turn bullish. Nobody can afford to sell their shit coins because it's too expensive. All right. So it's just about how they spin the narrative. And trust me, it will be spun. It will be spun once ETH starts moving. But we'll see what happens. It's not fun watching it. But again, you have the ETH BTC headwind of a spot ETF approval probably this week, it seems like. But yeah, anyways, I don't need to monologue or diatribe about it for too long. But yeah, I don't really think that it's anything to be overly concerned with. It's not fun to watch it if you hold ETH, but it's not like ETH USD is nuking. It's kind of hanging out. It actually looks pretty good.
You can go ahead, Tommy.
I just was saying yet.
I think like if people just pay attention to liquidity and volume, that will speak volumes for them. It'll allow them to get good entries and allow them to see kind of what's going on in the market. I think people are just so hyper focused, and I've had this discussion now for like days. It feels like I just want to just stop talking about the ETF. I swear. It's a continuous conversation with people. What do you think about the ETF? What do you think? Look, I think the ETF will mean that we have less downside in the next bear market. That's what I think. I think the ETF will allow passive flows. That's what I think. Do I think the ETF is going to pump your short-term bags? Hey, it might for like an hour, right? But ultimately, the market's going to do what it's going to do, and it's going to do what it's been doing, regardless of ETF. Like the only reason the market's going up is because of the ETF. What about 2021? Why'd it go up? Oh, that's because of COVID. What about 2016 to 2017? Well, that's just because of blah blah blah. What about I can name off every single cycle, and you'll make an excuse on why. Just follow the cycles, like follow the volume, follow liquidity. Like people just need to stop looking for narratives for reasons to buy, just like they need to stop looking for narratives for reasons to wait. They need to stop looking for narratives for reasons to sell. There's certain times you sell, there's certain times you buy, and if you just stick to those theses, everything plays out fine. And we could say, well, eventually it won't. Well, yeah, eventually, the Earth's going to end. Eventually, the dinosaurs died. But until that happens, you continue to keep on playing the trends. It's not a difficult process. I mean, look, I can sit there and tell you, hey, you need to eat your cereal with a spoon and not a fork, but not everybody's going to listen, right? Not everybody's going to listen.
Do people eat cereal with forks? Is that a real thing?
I mean, the way people invest in this industry, I would assume some of them are eating with forks.
So what I'm hearing is you're saying to turn brain off. Is that what I'm hearing?
Yeah, to stop thinking so freaking deep, man. Like the data is not hard. Data is volume into assets. Volume came in. Volume has stayed. This rally is not a bear market rally anymore. It is a trend. Bear market rallies can turn to trends. Trends can turn to directionality changes. And so many people are missing the plot on that. I can show you data on the chart, but you'll be like, oh, charts are magic, right? But you're going to listen to some guy tell you what the weather is tomorrow, right? But I'm the one telling you magic. Like,
well, you should show us then. Show us the chart. Let's see it.
Show us the magic.
I want to know what the weather is.
Hey guys, this is the weather tomorrow. Okay, but my charts are magic, right? They're fairy tale, they're doodles. Granted, some of them I do doodle, right? But I think it's more for directionality purposes than it is anything. I mean,
I call them my Delulu lines. I make fun of myself.
I'm gonna show you guys. Look, and this is nobody's talked about this. Nobody. All right, I always come up with the craziest stuff because nobody looks for things like this. 1, 2, 3, 4 different coins, 4 different ecosystems. They have nothing to do with each other. Absolutely nothing. All right, so let's get into the meat here. All right, let's get into the meat of overall. We already know the flush, right? Oh, look at that, guys. Flush. Are you looking at all 4 charts? Is everybody looking at all 4 charts? What happened with all 4 charts? From here, what do we do?
Man, I hate that near pumped so hard.
No, we're gonna discuss the pumps, man. This is the part that everybody's missing. Everybody's missing the plot. Look, all 4 charts, they all did what?
Capitulated.
They all did the same. Capitulated at the same time. Bottomed at the same. Now here's the problem. Here's the problem. What? Sorry about the beeping, guys. Like Jesus.
We can't hear any. I think it cancels it out.
It sounds loud, but maybe my sound cancel is working. That's great if it is. So
yeah, I don't hear any beeping on my end. Just letting you know.
Okay, cool. So here's the thing. Bottom, double bottom, right? Over here with ETH. Look, bottom, double bottom. What's the difference between ETH and these other ones right here? Right here.
ETH was moving up and making higher lows, and the other ones weren't.
Everybody missed the plot. ETH was showing more strength, telling you to start positioning for a bigger move that's coming. And then what do we see? We see another what? We see a bounce off the same bottom trend. Look, same bottom trend, double bottom. Over here, look, double bottom. Over here, look, double bottom. And what do we see from ETH in that same double bottom? What's here and what's here? Another higher low, right? When everything else bottomed, right? Here, what did ETH do? Another higher low. What did all three?
Well, why? So ETH was showing more strength during the bear market accumulation by printing higher lows while everything else was printing lower lows. But now it's severely lagging. So is this a game of
it's not. It's not. That's the thing, right? The better asset out of every asset out there, granted, you made money on all these plays, was always ETH. It was always ETH. And I'm going to show you.
Well, I don't know about that, Will. I got something to say about that.
Look, we're not going to talk about Solana. But look, the point being is we're going to talk about everything but Solana. All right? So if we look at all these assets, these are three totally different assets. Now, granted, they all got smashed differently, right? Like ICP got absolutely annihilated. AVAX, it did a great run up into a bear market bottom, right? So they all were different patterns at the beginning. But here in this bear market, they all bared the same way, right? So what do we see? We see a double bottom. Yes, it went a little bit lower here. Higher lows. Then what do we see? We see a deviation. This is what a lot of people miss. You see a deviation below the double bottom. Deviation below the double bottom. Deviation below the double bottom. Right? All generally in the same area. ETH. Higher low. Right? 1, 2, 3. Higher low. The second ETH turned around right here, what did every other altcoin start to do? It came back into the range. Every single one of these came back into the range at the same exact time. Look. Boom, boom, boom. Look all the way across the board. All of them came back into the range across the board. Now, granted, not only did they come back into the range, if you would have looked at Ethereum in the same way, you would have played this range. And I had this chart for a while. You would have played this range and you would have said we came back into the range here. And I think we talked about this on a show, Max, where I was talking about Ethereum's back in the range. It's going to move up from here. And what you saw is all of them swing together at the same time. They all moved with Ethereum. So now altcoins are following Ethereum. So when you see a move on Ethereum, expect a move on everything else across the board. Now, here's the trick. Here's the trick that nobody got, right? Is the percentage gains would be different, but similar across the board. So if we looked here from low, or we won't go from low. I wanted to go back from deviation to high. You got 37% on ETH. If you went from deviation to high here, you got 273. If you went from deviation to high here, you got 335. If you went from deviation to high here, you got 362. So arguably ICP was the best play out of all of these, right? Ethereum was probably the worst performer. But ultimately, Ethereum was your signal. It was your signal of strength. Because here's the thing. Even though these got 273, 335, 362, if you took Ethereum based on the strength low, you got 137, right? Because you kept forming higher lows here. Whereas everything else kept bleeding. So if you were buying into these other ones, you were bleeding with the market against Ethereum. But until the flip happened. Once the flip happened, that was your big move, right? And it's across the board at the same time. This is why when people say, oh, the move is fake. The move is blah, blah, blah. It's like, dude, you guys just don't understand. Liquidity moved into everything at the same time. We can call it price manipulation, whatever you guys want to call it at the end of the day. I can also call the government printing money and putting it into the economy, price manipulation, right? I can also call companies coming in and making up bullshit narratives to get people to buy their stocks, price manipulation. Like, we just got to get away from the whole price manipulation conversation and look at things for what they are and understand that these moves did not occur so these people can get rug. Whoever brought in liquidity, right? They brought in liquidity to turn this thing around, and they thought this was the most opportune time. Based on what? Based on a market that was bleeding against ETH, right?
It's interesting because something I was talking about in the Giga Chad voice call yesterday afternoon with Wabi Will was, people probably wouldn't, or they might, depending on who you are, would call the last few months of conditions that we've had alt season, quote unquote, right? But I think when most people think of alt season, they think of it's literally everything going up every day, basically, and just all this opportunity. And I think the movement that we've seen in altcoins over the last few months is a lot more reminiscent of, I would say, the end of 2021, right? And the rotational dynamics within that market, where you had a lot of opportunity available in alts, but if you weren't willing to rotate and you got stuck in an underperformer, you could get stuck in it for months. And I remember that was a very consistent theme in Q3 and Q4 of 2021. I don't think ETH really had its huge run up until after or until October anyway, right? I mean, we had that big wipe in September of 2021. It went sideways, and then after that, I think you had the huge ETH Bitcoin reversion trade higher. But until then, it was underperforming Bitcoin for probably 2 months and underperforming Solunavax at the time for, and it continued that underperformance for probably a few more months after that. But eventually ETH will get its turn to shine. It has always capped the end of every, bull cycle. And I'm not saying that as far as like, bull run over type of bull cycle, but right, we have these 3 or 4 month bull cycles, maybe once or twice every year. And ETH pumping always marks the end of those cycles, or at the very least, probably time to be a bit cautious. And I want to run this by you guys because I was kind of wondering where we're at as far as ETH Bitcoin goes in the cycle. And the capitulation this week makes me believe that we are going to get some mean reversion on ETH Bitcoin after this dump is over. Probably once you see the ETFs launch and all that good stuff, you're going to see ETH Bitcoin try to carve out a bottom, and it's going to be a great reversion trade in the short term. Probably, it might even be like a 20% reversion trade on ETH Bitcoin, which would be a huge move for ETH, probably close to 3K, no matter where we have it from. I'm just thinking from a cyclical standpoint, what you could see is like once that reversion is completed, that might be the ETH Bitcoin stone bottom. But I don't know that it's necessarily going to just recover into like the big ETH pump that I think everybody knows is coming. And this is something I was talking about in the morning. Like I think it's pretty likely that we're going to have like a bull cycle just completely dominated by Bitcoin and a bull cycle completely dominated by ETH. And they're going to be entirely separate. You're going to see one probably be significantly more speculative as far as altcoin performance goes as well, and the types of altcoins that are performing. And I think probably 2 things to look for when that happens is not just for Bitcoin to cool off, but probably for Sol to cool off too. Because as long as those 2 things are running in tandem, I think it's going to be a little bit difficult for ETH to really see its outperformance.
Yeah,
I agree with that, Tommy. And we were talking about that a little bit this morning in the Discord. What is the real motivation or incentive to own Ethereum? I think it will become obvious, maybe down the road, and maybe to some it's obvious right now. But there's been all this talk over the years about what's the Ethereum killer. Who is the Ethereum killer? Is it Solana? Is it one of these other chains? There's a lot of them now. So where is this killer? What's the ETH killer? And it's been kind of a meme this whole time. Like everybody always says they're the Ethereum killer, or they get branded as that, and then of course it never happens. But now with layer 2s like Stacks bringing some of these features that are native to Ethereum, traditionally unfunctionable to Bitcoin, maybe Bitcoin is a bit of the Ethereum killer, where Now you can generate a safe yield on your Bitcoin through L2s. And you can also, ideally access safe decentralized lending protocols collateralized by your Bitcoin settled on Bitcoin's L1, again, with the help of these L2s. So I just think that you're totally right. Like, this might just be a complete, like, Bitcoin dominated, I guess, Bitcoin dominance, Bitcoin bull market. And then maybe later on something happens with ETH. And I still think it happens this year, for sure. But it's why would anything but ETH really rally? Or I'm sorry, why would anything but Bitcoin really rally right now? I mean, think about the headwinds, right? I mean, think about the headwinds for ETH USD with the Bitcoin spot ETF approval, like a dozen of them potentially being approved this week. Why would ETH BTC rally in the face of that? Maybe after.
This is a discussion we've had, and this is why I said Bitcoin over Ethereum for now, is because Bitcoin will outperform Ethereum right now, and it's just a very obvious play for me. And if we look at, Bitcoin overall, like last cycle to this cycle is almost identical. It's almost freaking identical. Like I get so mad because so many people wanted to deny that this was the move, right? That there were a lot of people that said, "Oh yeah, that's not. It's going to come down again." It's like, no, dude, it's not coming down again. Like, you don't understand what is going on here. And if you look here, you got 2 attempts for entry here, 2, and then the market absolutely chatted. You got 2 attempts for entry here. The market's not coming back. It's not coming back to where people think it is.
Will, the reason people were looking for lower was because our pre-halving year was so different than 2019. Like, our pre-halving year looked so much more like the pre-halving year before the 2016 cycle than it did last cycle. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, I mean, obviously, there's going to be stipulations, right? There are just some people that are really coming at me really hard about this because they had this really belief that they were going to get another entry or another opportunity. No, you're not. Nobody's getting another opportunity. Like, price can come up, it can come back down, but it's going to go right back up again. That's like it did this many times. Look, price went up, right? Captured, went up, but look, it came down a little bit before it ran up again. And then it popped over, came down a little bit, and then ran up again. Popped over, came down a lot, and then ran up again. Right? Like this is the part that everybody misses. Yeah, it always initially looks like it's going to dump. But once momentum starts favoring upside, it's going to continually just keep driving until you reach a top. Right? So you wait for the bars pattern to go green, and the first red candle you get, you can essentially just call it a top, right? Once you start getting a high time frame red candle, you need to start being like, all right, we're gonna fall over. You had it here initially telling you to get the hell out. Now, granted, on the weekly you did have a rising wedge, which was much easier to follow. But if we were to throw on a monthly, just go your first red candle after a hard drive, right? And then over here, same thing. First red candle after a hard drive. You don't even have to know the top. You can literally just take the first monthly close. I'm like, all right, this thing's going to shit the bed. I need to get out. The second you get a red, right? And it was the same thing over here. Look, if you took it over here, now granted, if you took it somewhere in here, you'd have been like, oh yeah, it's over, and then it drove higher. But this is a much different liquidity market here. If you came up, you went up, small, up, and then once you get this buy up, you're going to jump again hard. Then you get this buy up, and all they did here was come back, filled the FVG, and then ran it right back up and closed up here. And at that point, once you closed up here, you kind of know you're going to drive higher, right? And then you get the drive down. You only feel half the move, drive up. Now, all these FVGs get filled on the what? They get filled on the way back down. So they roll it back down, roll out, double tap bottom, boom, you're good to go. This market was heavily driven. Now, a lot of people be like, oh, stimulus, oh, this, oh, that. Like, just get all that stuff out of your head, right? Just follow the patterns. Like, just get the stimulus out of your head. Get all, like, that stuff's going to happen regardless whether you want it to or not. Don't think that there's some kind of special event that makes these cycles happen. They happen because they happen, and it's a 4-year cycle. It's not difficult to play. Now pre-halving, after halving is different. But go ahead, Max.
So I want to bring a question to the panel here. We're potentially getting a spot ETF, and actually I'm gonna pull a Tommy and steal the screen just for a second here. Will, I hope you don't mind.
I do have the alpha on ETH, but you can go ahead.
Oh, we can get there. You want to do that real quick?
Yeah, let me just share the ETH real quick, and then we'll roll into the BTC conversation. So Ethereum did something very similar here in 2020. Look at this low right here. Up, over, and then what? Up, right? If we look over here at ETH, where it's at right now, up, over. Again, we'll probably play this out for multiple more months, right? And an absolute chat. This is the meat of the move for Ethereum. The meat of the move is not the end of cycle. This is your end of cycle move, right? This is your end of cycle move. Look at your end of cycle move compared to like if you catch the bigger move, right? The Ethereum catch up to Bitcoin. Now, this is what Ethereum will do after Bitcoin runs. Now, if you were to look at this,
Will, let me press you on that. When you say after Bitcoin runs, somebody could look you in the eyes and say Bitcoin has already run, Will, and that's kind of what I wanted to talk about as well.
I don't think it has.
I don't think we get that ETH move until January of next year. That big ETH move, because that's what happens is every January in the post-halving years when you get the ETH blow off. That doesn't mean it can't move until then, but that kind of tracks with, maybe we get a local top in February, ETH, BTC, mean reverts. Then you look for a higher low. And in January of next year is when ETH really, really puts it in.
So you're talking about maybe having to wait a whole 12 months from here, Tucker, until we get that real crazy ETH euphoria move.
Yep.
I think it happens at the end of the year, man. I think this whole thing's going to get front run. Everything's been.
Well, let's just define a couple things. Let's because you said some things that I think that they warrant a little bit more detail. So you said once Bitcoin stops running, then ETH is going to put in this move. So what does that mean exactly?
So, I mean, let's just simply put ETH against Bitcoin, and I could show you. So if we were to look at see
the world's biggest watch list. I forgot how long that watch list is.
Nobody knows. All right. So if we look at Bitcoin and Ethereum, again, we can look at this in a more dial tone. Yes, I know. Okay. Don't say anything, guys. I get it. I like to sit on here and sketch a bunch of crap and look at a bunch of scenarios. So if we look at ETH Bitcoin, what are we seeing here? What did we say?
Go mark out the times on ETH Bitcoin when it really started to rally.
As far as what? Oh, ETH, it started from down here. ETH tracked Bitcoin. Look, Bitcoin made the first move, right? ETH finally finally looked like it was basically tracking sideways. Look, Bitcoin made the first move, ETH underperformed. Then the next move that Bitcoin made, what did ETH do? It tracked. Next move that Bitcoin made, what did ETH do? It tracked. But ETH is doing a lot less, but more in percentage, right? More in percentage, but a lot less in candle size. Over here, again, tracked, and ETH actually outperformed this month. Tracked, ETH underperformed this month. Tracked, ETH ETH pretty much tracked on with Bitcoin, right? No outperformance, no underperformance. And then ETH continued to rally after Bitcoin eventually topped.
So you think Bitcoin's going to basically have to push all-time highs before we start to see ETH really move, if I'm hearing you correctly?
I think if Bitcoin pushes all-time highs, you'll see like a 3,000 plus ETH.
But we don't want a $3,000 ETH. If Bitcoin's at 70K, we want ETH at 5,000, 6,000. a 3K ETH if Bitcoin's at 70K is a failure of a rally, in my opinion.
You're gonna track this first, and this is gonna be hard resist right here, right? That's your ultimate
basically
goal
where
right now.
Bitcoin's at right now. That same little shoulder.
ETH is lagging right now. It is lagging, and that's where the whole point of Ethereum's move right now is to bore people out of the position, right? That's really what it is. They don't want you to get this. They do not want you to get this. They want you to buy up here. That's where they want you to buy. They want you to buy back in at higher valuations. And so what they're going to do is drag this out as long as they can until liquidity flows get so immense that ETH just absolutely pops off, right? And I think that's where people are missing the plot here. ETH tracked Bitcoin tick for tick almost all the way to the high. But the thing that people forget here, if you're looking for performance, this is Bitcoin's performance, right, to the high from that same position right here. Man, it's so difficult. I don't know why it does this. We'll say roughly about 420. I know it says 560, but that's because it keeps on doing
this. Is a great comment, real quick. This is what you were talking about, Will. AZTV says, yeah, but then that 2.5 to 3K ETH goes to 5 to 6K in a month. That's exactly what I'm expecting. It's just it's going to get dragged up by Bitcoin kicking and screaming, and then suddenly, boom, double in 30 to 45 days.
You need the ETH BTC pair, Will. Just put
I'm gonna put that on Tucker. We're gonna take a little detour here, Will. Just give me a second, because I have it. I think I have that saved, or at least the halving cycles, Tucker, so I can.
But just for context, and then Ethereum did 3 times the move Bitcoin right here.
So in the December's in December, following we don't need it in log. In December following the Bitcoin halving. So here's the Bitcoin halving, and then December, let's just do January.
Who could have foreseen .e?
So right here, December following, okay, and then December following the halving, and then December following the Tucker, man. Oh,
come on.
Make me wait, bro.
What is this? I'm telling you.
What is this?
No, but look, after the halving in the last cycle, it puts in a move, right? Like, it's not going sideways. Like, it puts in a decent move against Bitcoin, and then it bleeds a little bit in like Q3, Q4, and then it absolutely starts chatting in Q1 of the post-halving year.
All right, so we're going to put this in. Let's mark this out as well. So the green is the December in the post, the December following a Bitcoin halving. And now we're going to make red the December before the Bitcoin halving. So here's December before the Bitcoin halving. Here's December before the Bitcoin halving. And here's December before the Bitcoin halving. So we only have a couple data points here, but my gut is honestly telling me right now that if it weren't for the spot Bitcoin ETF, this little move right below here, like this, anything below here wouldn't be happening. Like, this is kind of deviation territory to me, because we have the spot ETF as such a headwind for ETH BTC. All right, now granted, we've known about it for a while. Who could have foreseen? Everybody could have foreseen. I'm just saying, like, this could be our FTX deviation of the ETH BTC pair. Does that make sense when I say that? If not, I want to expand on that. This could be our FTX deviation, like statistical anomaly, weight deep value below fair value, because of the spot ETF approvals acting as such a headwind for ETH BTC. Does that make sense?
So I do want to point out, and it's hard to say it like without just like being flat out about it. I feel like ETH BTC pair is just, it's a meme, right? It's like Doge, it's like Bonk, it's like Pepe. Like, just don't even look. Like, just look. I mean this in the most respectful way. I see a lot of people talk about it. I'm with Wabi on this 100%. Like, I think he's kind of got a point to it, and it makes sense because I'm seeing pressure on Ethereum that looks like it wants to absolutely explode. And this chart is not giving it any justice at all. Like this thing, it's so difficult to try and say that, oh, this is the time to get in, this is the time not to get in. Because here's the thing, if you just take simple charting, if you could throw it back to me just for a second, and I'll show you what I'm talking about. And I think like it's just, you don't even need that chart. You don't need it. You could see the strength difference very easily in that Ethereum is going to outperform Bitcoin by leaps and bounds. And I say this as somebody who is not an Ethereum, like, you know, is my God type person, like most people are. People literally like praise Ethereum like it's the church of Ethereum. I don't understand it, but I'll look at it from this perspective. Ethereum's strength is much stronger than Bitcoin. You can talk all the crap you want. Look, bottom, higher low, higher low. Bottom, lower low. Right? Like this was your first initial telling that Ethereum is going to outperform Bitcoin. It was the easiest play in the world to know that Ethereum is going to outperform Bitcoin. What does that do? That makes me even more bullish on beta, because that means that this market probably this time is going to be even more ridiculous when it comes to beta plays, right? Because for the market to choose at the bottom of the market, for it to choose Ethereum over Bitcoin, that says a lot. And now you're probably like, well, how do you know it chose Ethereum over Bitcoin? Blah, blah, blah. Look, I like Bitcoin too. I think Bitcoin continues to be the golden child of the crypto market. The point being though, and I did know that there would be a flip on basically liquidity focusing Bitcoin, because that's how you drive the market. The point being is that you had the lower lows, you had the higher lows, right? Not only that, you had the strength play in your favor, right? Now, granted, here to here, look at your strength. Your trend is up. Why are people acting like this is a fake rally, right? Your rally is showing it's real. And then over here, same thing with Bitcoin. The only difference between Bitcoin and Ethereum in this same liquidity zone is Bitcoin had a bull div, which is basically a market fake out, right? So from here to here, it had strength rising against price dropping. These are two different patterns, but they both mean the same thing. This is the obvious play. This is the not so obvious play, unless you're looking at strength. And so nobody knew the market was going to flip because they continued to look at this market as very bearish, continue to play it as very bearish. And so they continued to short this thing all the way down, even though you had the bull div on the high time frames telling you this thing was going to reverse. When I saw this bull div, Max, this is what got me to buy in here, right? This is what got me to buy up here. Because when I saw this deviation low, right, and I saw price recapture, roll over, retap, bounce out, roll over, retap, bounce out, roll over, retap. Like it was just so obvious that liquidity was driving and not faking. Faking would have occurred here. We would have never made it to here if this was a bear market rally. That's what a lot of people don't understand. You would have never gotten above these two positions. You would have stayed relatively ranged here and then probably dumped again at some point if you were looking for price to actually reverse. This is why I always said at 25K, and we had this discussion. I said, if you go below 25K, you're probably cooked, right? You're going to probably reverse and turn right back around and go right back to the lows, if not deeper. Because once you violate these two highs, this inverse head and shoulders that played, you're looking to directionally change the market. And Ethereum showed its hand from the bottom, right? It showed its hand from the bottom. And everybody continues to fade Ethereum. Does this look very bearish to people? Does it look very bearish?
No, here's the thing, Will. Here's the thing is ETH USD looks fantastic. Okay. But the only appropriate way to measure an altcoin is against Bitcoin, because it's inherently riskier to hold Ethereum versus Bitcoin, hold any altcoin against Bitcoin. You could have just bought a bunch of Bitcoin over the past 2 years, and it would have been a much easier trade than trying to deal with Ethereum. Now, granted, yes, Ethereum had an uptrend. Bitcoin actually went on to make a lower low during FTX, and Ethereum didn't. But point being is there is no point to hold Ethereum. if it's underperforming Bitcoin.
Well,
so
let
the
me
USD pair looks great, but we don't care about that. I mean, we kind of do, but why not just hold Bitcoin then?
Let me yeah, no, holding Bitcoin made sense to a certain point, but let me explain to you the meat of the move. This is what everybody is missing right now. This is where we are. Okay, this right now with Ethereum. That's where we are with Ethereum. We are here. Where's the meat of the move? Is it here or is it here? I would say it's here. Ethereum, I think, is going to absolutely kill Bitcoin as far as going into the next bull run. Now, granted,
why though? Are you talking fundamentally? Because if you're talking fundamentals,
performance. I don't care about fundamentals. I don't care about none of that crap. Look, from the low to the high, 5,596%. Again, Bitcoin over here, we'll say roughly in this range. Sorry about any noise. It's extremely loud here. 1,398. Do you see the performance difference here? And then not only the performance difference here, I think it's going to do it again. I think it's going to do it again. Even from the bounce zone. Let's go from the bounce right here, right? Where the market actually turned around, ran up. You got 912. Now let's go to bounce here for Bitcoin. You got 500. I mean, Ethereum almost 2x'd even from the bounce over what Bitcoin could do to the upside. And now fundamentally, I think people are missing the plot. Ethereum runs a show when it comes to dApps, when it comes to devs, when it comes to adoption, when it comes to everything. Solana is doing great, but I can tell you, if you look at on-chain, Ethereum has by far way more projects than Solana, by far way more devs. Activity is by far roughly around in the, I would say, higher ranges. And
the biggest difference I would say, though, Will, about the difference in devs between ETH and Solana is that ETH devs are closer to, my friends call it post-wealth. It's post-wealth, right? I mean, you make so much money that after a certain point, your incentivization to continue aggressively growing the ecosystem with incentives from the protocol, it dwindles.
Well, here's the thing. And Max, we had this conversation. So I'm going to bring you into the conversation here. All right. Remember our discussion about Apple?
Yeah.
Remember what you told me when it was at 1 trillion evaluation?
I do.
And now it's 3. What was the conversation we had around that?
So I was driving to Chicago with a friend for the weekend. And I remember watching in the car, Apple hit a $1 trillion market cap. It was the first time any company had ever reached $1 trillion in market cap. And I thought it was unbelievable. I was like, this is incredible. That is such an unbelievable valuation. I was like, there's just no way it's going to go to like 2 trillion. It's going to take another decade. I mean, it's at $1 trillion. It took, how many years has Apple been in business, right? I mean, 30 years or something, at 25 years. I have no idea, 20, 30 years, something like that. And it took 2-3 decades to hit a 1 trillion valuation. And then it literally went from 1 trillion to 3 trillion in like 2 years or something like that. So it's just, it's just how it goes.
And when you told me that, like, that made me think long and hard on ETH. And again, I'm not an ETH maxi, or you definitely aren't going to catch me on that kind of crap. But I can tell you, when I think about those type of things, it's like, yeah, he's actually right. I'm like, that's actually a good point. And keep in mind, you can learn something new from everybody, right? They can open your eyes to different positions. And so when it comes to Ethereum, I just think there's so much money and I would say sweat, blood, and tears invested into that project, not just through devs, but everybody else who's involved with it, and old money on top of it, that they're just going to keep driving it. Doesn't matter if it's garbage. Doesn't matter if the TPS is crap. Doesn't matter if there's high fees. They're going to make excuse. Well, it's for wealthy people. It's not for. Remember, that's the same excuse they use with Bitcoin, right? It's for wealthy people. That's why it's not for poor people, and stuff like that. But if you invest, you can become wealthy, and they bring the same narrative to Ethereum and excuses on why. And now here's the kicker, Snorlax. I agree, because proof of stake those fees should not be anywhere near where they are. I don't know if you guys can hear that, but it's actually horrible. But proof of stake should be, it should be so cheap. But instead, you're still paying $20, $30, $50 for transactions. And this isn't even the peak of the bull. I honestly, I almost have no doubt we'll probably see $200 to $500 transactions in the top of the bull again from Ethereum, which is absurd. Why did they even move to proof of stake then? Why didn't they just stay proof of work if they're still going to keep their fees roughly around the same pricing?
Well, for me, it's so much about the timing of transactions, because it kind of goes back to the Ethereum killer argument.
You could pay for faster ones.
No, I know, but like I was trying to transact on Bitcoin. I was buying a puppet last night, and dude,
it takes forever.
It took like 40 minutes. It was insane, dude. I was like, there's no way that this thing is gonna be the ETH killer after interacting with it. I was like, it took so long, man.
You talking about Bitcoin itself, or?
Yeah, I think it was it wasn't on an L2, granted, but it was native Bitcoin. Yeah.
No, native Bitcoin is the most horrendous transaction times you've ever seen. Like I've been dealing with Bitcoin for a long time, and like I did a transaction the other day and I had to check my address like 10 times because I thought maybe I sent it to the wrong address.
Well, and even the like block scanner for Bitcoin is like incomprehensible if you're not a dev. Like Etherscan is fantastic, Solscan is fantastic, Bitcoin scan or whatever is awful. Can't even, the mempool.space thing, terrible.
Yeah, but I would say with Ethereum, I don't see the tech as improving. I will say that. I just think there's so much investment in it. They're going to keep pushing it, right? And I think, when it comes to a lot of old tech, it's like Black Fridays, right? You're trying to offload everything before the new stuff comes out. And so you're going to see a lot of exchange of hands with Ethereum. A lot of people hold this thing, all the way through, but there will be new tech that'll be better. And I'll tell you this, like I think Solana is the diamond in the rough that everybody's looking at, but I think there'll be better tech. I think there will. That won't be, specifically centralized like Solana's. And I think like if we just continue to watch this space evolve, it's the whole space of crypto essentially is like a test net. That's what a lot of people aren't willing to say out loud, right? It's like a test net of not only liquidity, but social engineering and a lot of other things that go on in this space. And eventually this test net will turn into a main net, but we haven't gotten there yet overall with crypto.
Will, are you saying Bitcoin was a test net for Caspa?
Nice plug. I will say this.
That's my favorite saying, man. That they love to say that. I'm just like, dude, I don't know. I love Caspa, man, but I can't stand that one saying that Bitcoin was a test net for Caspa, man. I'm just like,
if you guys want to know what the real main net will be, all right, it usually will, come to fruition about the same amount of time that you hit that like button on the channel, right?
Yeah, you guys were cooking, so I didn't interrupt, but I mean, guys, what are we really doing here today? We haven't even bugged you guys. We are at 51 likes on YouTube. That ain't bad, but we do have over 100 people watching just on YouTube alone. So guys, you know the deal. You know the routine. If you are enjoying the content, if you are enjoying the discussion, please just take one brief moment. We're going to pause here, navigate over to your mouse, find the mouse, hit it as hard as you possibly can, and hit that thumbs up button for us, guys. It does wonders for the channel. It does wonders for our growth. And the reason that we're able to grow so quickly is because of your guys' continued support of what we are building here. So please just take one moment, do us a solid, do us a favor, hit that thumbs up button for us. And also, if you're on Twitter and you want to join the live chat, join us here on YouTube as well. It's hard to monitor like comments and stuff on Twitter too. I've got so many pages open. We've got like TradingView, we've got StreamYard, we've got YouTube, we've got Twitter, we've got Discord. So if you want to join the live chat, there should be a link below the Twitter stream. But also, please hit that like button if you're watching on Twitter and you are enjoying it so far. please consider hitting that like button. It's super easy on Twitter. It helps push our content to more people. And again, we greatly appreciate your guys' support. Furthermore, if you guys are new here, this is Market Check brought to you by Because Bitcoin. It is our daily live YouTube and now X show. We are live with normally 5 guys, myself, Snorlax, Will, Tucker, and Jackus, who was unfortunately not able to be with us today. But it's basically an hour and a half long to 2 hours sometimes. Alpha dump, we just talk charts, narratives, price. All in all, have a great time. So make sure that you are subscribed to our YouTube or following our Twitter so that you can be made aware of when we go live, which again is 5 days a week, Monday through Friday at 10:50 a.m. Eastern time. Will, I'm stealing the chart back.
I wanted that comment by AZTV. I felt like was so relevant. This one, just because talking about how, for anybody who can't see the video, it's just talking about how long Bitcoin transactions take to send. And I was buying my my Bitcoin puppets yesterday, and in the time that it took for me to get my Bitcoin off the exchange and into my wallet, the floor had gone up by like 25 to 30%. So I think next time it's a pretty good lesson. Usually what happens on so many of these chains is just having money present to be able to ape and beat the bridgers to the token is usually going to be a great way to make free money or free multiples. And that's going to be especially true probably for BRC and ordinals if it takes like 30 to 40 minutes for you to be able to get any funds into a Bitcoin wallet at the fastest. So that's something that I think could be potentially alpha for the next bull run. Or, if you are interested in transacting in BRCs at all, just kind of having money present on the Bitcoin blockchain, network I mean, a lot of people already do have that, to be fair. But, if you are kind of a shit coiner like myself, I think it's definitely worth having some money on BRC or on the Bitcoin blockchain at all times, specifically for ordinals and all that jazz.
Yeah, I just want to add to his ordinals conversation real quick. You do need a wallet set up too. Keep that in mind also, Snorlax, because I think a lot of people don't even know you need a whole separate wallet for ordinals in general if you're dabbling in that space. But yeah, I think this, whether people would admit it or not, ordinals are going to bring new liquidity to Bitcoin. That's what they're going to do.
And I think that ordinals are a good thing for Bitcoin. I mean, one, you see transaction fees moving up, which I think is bullish. Honestly, it's more of an incentive because that was an issue. I know people debated last cycle, like, ETH is super bullish because the fees are high. There's more of an incentive. It's like Bitcoin fees are almost too cheap. So is it congesting the network? Is it spamming the network? Or is it ultimately bullish and it's a free market? I would argue if the market demands it, then so be it. But there's part of me that isn't super bullish on Bitcoin ordinals, and I'm actually way more bullish on like Dogecoin ordinals.
Yeah.
Like if we're talking about NFTs, inscriptions, and I mean really getting into like the shit coins of shit coins, Doge is the Bitcoin of meme coins. All right. Doge is a fork of Bitcoin, isn't it? Like Doge was born out of Bitcoin, if I'm not mistaken. Doge is like the timeless, time-tested meme. It's the meme that will give you a pretty consistent 10 or 20x from wherever the low is, maybe more, and it won't rug. All right, just like a lot of these other meme coins. Doge is the Bitcoin of meme coins. So when we're talking about inscriptions, I'm actually way more bullish on the Doge inscriptions. I don't think Bitcoin really needs it. I almost feel like it feels wrong to sell my Bitcoin for ordinals, but my Doge, I don't care at all. I'll just market dump all my Doge into some Doge inscriptions without a second thought. It's just Doge. Who cares? And also, if you're talking about chasing beta, Doge is, why deal with like the slow, lethargic Bitcoin network and having to wait an hour to get your Bitcoin monkey or your whatever the fuck you guys just bought. I don't even know what it is.
Max.
Tommy said it best.
Your Bitcoin poop
Tommy
coin.
Posted it best. All right. Tommy, can you pull up that Twitter post you made?
Oh, the one I had last night.
Yeah, I reposted it.
Autistic puppets. on the Bitcoin blockchain.
Here's the deal, though. Here's the deal, though. Those floors could go way up, but when we're talking about beta and outperformance, for those that don't know, like if we're talking about DRC20s or like these Doge NFTs or even Bitcoin, right? The puppets that Tucker and Tommy bought. The idea is similar to just like a Solana NFT or an ETH NFT. The hope is that the floor price rises and the asset appreciates. So it's basically holding on to a leveraged Bitcoin or Doge or ETH or Solana long. It's the same. It's the same exact thing. So if we're talking about Doge going to $1, maybe a 10x plus from here, I think that that's more likely than Bitcoin going to 500,000 from here in the same period of time. Mm-hmm. And I also think that these Doge ordinals, one, they already have like pretty decent Chrome extensions. I've talked to some people that are working on mobile wallets. Doge is going to be the one where everybody apes on Robinhood. And when you're talking about these Doge NFTs, these are things that you can buy right now for like 10, 20, 30 bucks. And if Doge goes to $1, again, these are denominated in Doge. So if the value, the floor price is denominated in Doge, which pulls a 10x, and then the floor pulls a 10x, you're talking about some of these things pulling 100x's. So I just think if we're talking about inscriptions and shit coins, I'm way more bullish on the Doge ones than Bitcoin. But that's not saying that the Bitcoin ones will not do well at all. Because I'm not even qualified to make that assertion. I don't own any. I don't know enough about them. But I love
in our Discord, we have a guy. His name is Bills, and he is the alpha. He is the edge for the Doginals and the Ordinals. That guy, he got us into francs at like $4. Now they're like 20. Like, I think those are probably an easy 100x. Like, I don't know. I think you're right. I think there is a lot of alpha there. I don't know much about the differences between like, because you have like DRC 20s and then you have inscriptions and then you have like Doge maps. Like there's a whole slew of different like asset classes within that ecosystem. So that is one thing though, the mobile wallets. I was complaining about that in the Doge whatever channel in the Discord. I was like, these guys need a mobile wallet because like I'm in Florida right now. I don't have my computer with me. Like I'm trying to ape some Doginals and it's just not an ideal scenario.
I think I actually own some francs. I think, but they're not $40. They're like $20, right? Am I looking at the
No,
right
yeah, we bought them originally. They were $4 and now they're 20.
I don't even know how much I paid for them. I literally just started buying them.
Yeah.
I have no idea what I paid for them at all. I have no idea. Oh, I think I got airdropped some stuff. I don't really get how this stuff works, man. I literally I was following Bills and Sisu, man. What's that?
The stuff you get airdropped, I will probably wouldn't touch that. It's likely like the stuff you get on ETH, man.
Oh,
no. This one, it's pad. It's CC.
No. I got a different one. That's Doc Hollywood, man. He was on our space the other day. That one's legit. But I've gotten through Doggy Market or Dogi Market. I don't know how you say it. I got airdropped something called. Let me look at the wallet. PIIG, and I got airdropped like 6.999420 quadrillion of them. And I don't know what it is.
It's a scam. That's what it is. I got airdrop turtle and something else. I don't know what they are, but I tried to sell them. They do have liquidity, so thank you for the donations. Whoever sent me those, but I'm not buying your token.
This is a good comment here. The culture of Doge leans much heavier towards DRC being seamless transition for that community to jump towards. I would agree with that. That's exactly why I'm more bullish on it, because all these apes, man, when Doge starts cooking.
Oops. Can you guys hear that?
Yeah, that was my fault.
No, I mean here. Can you hear that?
Oh no, my alarm just went off.
Bro, I'm going mobile. Like I'm gonna lose my mind.
Much easier for the Doge holders to ape into all these Doge shit coins and Doge NFTs than it is for the Bitcoin community. So that's a really great point.
You mean to like wrap their head around aping into stuff like that?
If somebody owns 1 million Doge, like a nice little bag of Doge, they won't hesitate to dump half of that into francs or Doge NFTs, whatever, where somebody that owns 100 grand of Bitcoin is not going to, they're not going to touch ordinals or inscriptions because they're likely in it for different reasons. People that are in Doge, the culture is rooted in just being a degen, honestly, and being an ape, and they're going to love this new technology. They're going to be all about getting Doge NFTs and inscriptions. The Bitcoin community, honestly, they don't really give a damn. You know, a lot of them are actually really opposed to it. Who in the Doge community is opposed to inscriptions on Doge? Nobody. Nobody. Why would they be? It's just another thing to ape. It's more beta. They love it, man. Bitcoin guys, they're probably in it for different reasons. There's guys like us that are somewhere in the middle where like we all own some Bitcoin. We recognize it for what it is. It's fantastic. Who might dabble with ordinals, but it's not going to be the same scale as the Doge community. It's a different temperament and demeanor.
Here's the thing, Max, and I've said this a couple times. And so the saying is, right, for crypto in general, is that if you loved it at 29 cents, right, your ordinals, you're going to really love it at $29,000 because retail are absolute degenerates, right? They don't like buying low priced items, right? There's no community until there's liquidity. Then there's a community. And this is what most people don't understand. This is why people fade the easiest plays, because you know, when you get people stating things like, oh, there is no community, Doge is dead, when there's no reason to buy ICP. ICP is garbage. And then all of a sudden, what happens? Oh, it just popped off. Everybody's an ICP maxi now. Everybody's an ICP maxi now, right? Everybody's an AVAX, you know, master. Everybody's a Solana grifter, right? Like it's just one after another to where people are chasing trends and trying to be like, I am the master of this whole chain. I've been talking about it since day one. And the reality is once liquidity comes, everybody follows. Why? Because they like buying overpriced assets. They don't like buying them before it pumps. They like buying them after it pumps. And this is why people have a hard time making money in this space. They will sit there and talk all the shit they want about Doge and everything else. But hey, once it pops off, you know, now everybody they knew all about it, right? They were in it since day one, even though the whole time they were shit talking it. And this is the thing that kills me. Like, people don't come here to make money. They come here to just talk shit a lot of the time when it comes to Twitter and everything else. That's what I posted the other day. I was like, you can keep your fame. I was like, I'm here to make money. That's what I'm here to do. I don't care about becoming famous. I don't care about likes or clicks or followers or any of that stuff. Like,
I care a lot about likes, Will. I care a lot about likes.
I care about because Bitcoin likes. But the point being is that I care to trade with other people who are comparable, and I care to trade with other people that, you know, are here to trade and not here for clickbait. That's kind of the difference. I think a lot of traders are here for clickbait versus, you know, actually making money.
Look at this chart, man. Wow, that is arts right there, Max.
You know what? And thank you for saying that. Sorry, say that again, Tommy.
I love the watermark.
Boy, yeah, fucking Paulie stole my fucking Pepe chart, man. He dirty thief. Sorry for swearing, but yeah, I spend so much time. First of all, I've spent years learning how to actually chart and make it like easy to understand and look good. The hours I spend making these charts to just have some guy like Paulie just literally like rip me off, and he's getting paid to be on Twitter and I'm not. I'm just like, all right, man, you know. Anyways, so I started to watermark my tweets, guys, my charts.
Did he ever respond? You didn't have to. Your name was on his chart. But did he ever respond to you when you asked him?
No.
Like, he didn't even cut out your name. He literally left it on your chart.
He used the same words in the caption. It was unbelievable.
He took not only my chart, but like the paragraphs I wrote about the whole thing and copy pasted word for word everything I said, like 3 paragraphs, and then also my chart, you know. And then he got like way more engagement than me, and I'm like, dude, screw you.
I mean, technically, you can go after him for plagiarism, but I mean, that's up to you.
I don't actually care. Like, it's just kind of like, it's just a joke, man. Like, just the worst of this space, you know.
Yeah.
But I don't really care. Like, I'm here. I've been doing this for like almost 2 years now. Like, probably like 17, 18 months now, full time, left my job to build Because Bitcoin. Like I'm here in the spirit of education, and hopefully it makes a lot of money one day. Like if he got this chart, you know, or whatever he was sharing in front of more people, then I guess, you know, mission accomplished. But Mike, you asked a question here in the comments. When's the best time to buy Doge? End of 2024, similar to what happened end of 2020. So I sent the link in there, but we'll just go over this quick in here. Pretty unbelievable how this works, but the best time to buy Doge is basically right when Bitcoin presses up against its previous all-time high. What I find most amazing about this chart, if you guys can see it, is that from this first all-time high for Doge in 2014 until the next one in 2017, high to high was 1,219 days. The second cycle, from the 2017 high to the most recent one, 1,219 days. That would basically put us following this trend out into September of 2024. So if Bitcoin comes up and pressures its all-time high, I'm probably going to sell everything and just market dump my portfolio into Doge. Or Doge, you know, inscriptions, or Pepe, you know, but like this is when the real shitcoinery starts, is when Bitcoin pressures that all-time high. So yeah, this chart is one that I am quite proud of for sure. See if Pauly steals it, but yeah, I like this one. It's pretty crazy though. From all-time high to all-time high, 1,219 days. That's spooky.
Max, when is that vertical line you have on when to buy?
Right here?
Yeah.
I just put it at March 10th. I don't know when, you know, I guess it could happen this month. It could happen, you know, Q2. I don't know. But whenever Bitcoin presses up against its all-time high, that's exactly when you ape.
What's that percentage gain you got there, Max?
I mean, that's going to be like a 12 or 13x, you know.
So a nice
my
little
expectation based
now.
on the previous two cycles here is that 1,219 days from the previous all-time high, which was, you know, like 75 cents roughly, would take us out to a new Doge all-time high sometime around September. And I would imagine Doge hits $1 by then. But of course, it's all contingent upon Bitcoin making an all-time high. But yeah, I mean, this in my opinion seems like one of the. I would put this at about a 15 or 20% chance of actually playing out. But if it does, this might be the softest toss, 10 to 15x that anybody ever gives you right here, if it does happen.
Yeah, worth taking a shot for sure.
Could you
Normies,
imagine the smell?
Normies will send Doge above $1. Man, if Bitcoin goes to like 100K, Doge is going above $1. I would say that with like a very high degree of certainty.
And
but
here's what
it won't be the first meme coin above $1, Tommy.
Oh, you're right. There are two contenders that could beat it there, WIF or ticker Bitcoin.
Or Pepe times 1,000, which is how it trades on. I'm serious. Look at this. Hang on.
Like people think this all stops here. Remember didn't Shiba reach like $16 billion valuation before the market ended? Like just double that, and that's what these shit coins are gonna see.
Here's Pepe trades on perps as Pepe times 1,000. Pepe times 1,000 on perps could go to $1 right here. Just saying.
What's it at right now? What is that, like a cent?
It's at 0.001, so it has to get rid of 2 zeros.
Okay.
But I'm just saying, because it trades on perps, like all the perps are, you know, Pepe US or Pepe USDT times 1,000.p or whatever.
Max, I'm telling you, like I know people think it's crazy, but like the bonk move is coming to Pepe. It's 100%
It is,
coming.
dude. Pepe's a bag. I'm just like I'm holding, man. Like I know what it's gonna do. Not everyone sees it yet, but I know what it's gonna do. But here's what I think happens with Doge, and then into Pepe, right? So obviously this chart, Bitcoin's down here. It's very contingent upon Bitcoin making an all-time high probably this quarter. All right, so let's go to Bitcoin. I think it's possible if we get this scenario and Bitcoin's hanging out above 75K, basically sometime before the halving or around the halving, then what you're going to see is Doge literally head to like $1. Okay. But when you see Doge head to $1, and it's going to basically pull like a 12 or 13x from here, you're going to see Pepe literally pull 100x and probably actually top out around where Doge did last cycle. So Pepe times 1,000, which is how it trades on perps, would be like 75 cents. So from here, wherever it is, you're going to see Pepe literally go nuts, man. Like 75 to 100x. So
and they're going to scream for $1 and never going to
this is the make it scenario. This is like the one scenario I have mapped out where it's like Max gets to retire in like 6 months if this all works out. Like if Bitcoin goes to 80 or 90K, I rotate like half my portfolio into Doge and the other half into Pepe. Doge goes to $1, Pepe goes like 50 to 100x. That's the make it play right there. I map out like 100 different scenarios, but this is like the make it scenario. This is the make it by, make it before my next birthday scenario. But everything has to align perfectly.
So, real quick, Max, Robert Firmo said Bitcoin has never reached previous all-time high prior to halving.
Correct.
I would say, yes, you're right. Anything can happen at the end of the day. But what does it matter when you're coming into a halving, right? When you're coming into a halving.
Well, let me ask you this, Robert. What's the point of you saying that? I don't mean that confrontationally. I just mean like, what's the point of mentioning that? To say that it can't happen again, or it won't happen because it hasn't happened? Or, I mean, I would assume that's it, right?
But, well, Max, Bitcoin's also never had a spot ETF, right? Like we could say 100 scenarios, right? It's like when you have 4 data points, anything can happen.
Yeah, it's a great point. And then also we could say last cycle, Bitcoin's never had a true double top before, which it did last cycle. We could also say that Bitcoin has never spent that much time below the 200-week simple moving average like it did in the bear market. There's a lot of like it's never happened before. Robert said, I thought
he responded.
It is, Robert. And by the way, this is my make it scenario. Like you guys follow me on Twitter, I assume we're gonna be doing these shows every day. You'll know if this scenario is playing out. I'm going to be real loud about it. And the good part is we're not big enough yet where this stuff really goes like, viral, so if we're in the make it scenario, there's a few hundred of you that get this, we usually get like 500 to 700 views on these streams. It's a small group of people that are going to be on the make it trade with us if this happens. But again, I don't put a super high likelihood attached to it. Like all the stars have to align just perfectly. But I'll tell you, I know what it's going to look like when the stars align, if they do, and I will be there to pounce. This is the make it trade. Bitcoin all-time high in Q1 before the halving because it's got the ETF tailwinds. It's also got the Fed pause, and also, the puppeteers behind the scenes. They know that we kind of need this to happen because eventually there is a recession coming, so we need a quicker cycle. So
if we get the nail on the head.
What?
Go ahead. Keep going now. Keep cooking. I said you hit the nail on the head. Keep cooking.
Yeah. So they know we need an expedited cycle, and they also recognize that it's been too repetitive and the cat's out of the bag with just buy Bitcoin around the halving or after the halving and you get to 10x your money for free. They're front running it because they need to. They're front running it because we're in a Fed pause and we're going to get a recession eventually. Okay. It could be like a year or 2 or 3 from now. Who knows? The cat's out of the bag with the halving, and we have institutions tripping over themselves to all be first to launch and issue the lowest fees for their spot ETFs. So we have a perfect storm to get a Bitcoin all-time high before or right into the Bitcoin halving, which is going to be probably early April, it seems like. So with that said, if that happens, this scenario probably plays. People start aping into Doge at the Bitcoin all-time high. Doge goes to $1, Pepe 50 to 100x's. Max has made it after one cycle. That's it. That's the make it scenario. And then I just focus on building because Bitcoin with you guys.
The thing that people are sleeping on the most is that a recession is coming, whether people want to believe it or not. And this is where the Bears had it right, but they also had it wrong because they had it wrong on timing. Like we all know here kind of what the headwinds are. It's just we saw liquidity flows move in because they're trying to take advantage before the recession hits. That's basically it. Like a lot of
Yeah.
people aren't in that boat of understanding that it's going to play and everybody's going to get screwed, but you just have to be in and out before that happens. Did you want to jump in there, Solex?
No, I was just listening to you guys.
Yeah, I think that when you look at it from that perspective, like this is the greatest opportunity you're going to get. And then guess what? When a recession hits, you're going to get another great opportunity. So keep fumbling or continue to watch liquidity and
Yeah.
ignore the guys that sit there and scream macro 24/7, and that's all they do. Like these
I
macro
just
guys
need to
just
make a
have
trade.
not
I
let
just
up.
need to make a trade right now. Like give me generational net worth by like summer of next year. Then I go all cash, and then we get a recession, and then we scoop. But I don't know. I like to entertain this stuff, but
Well,
yeah.
the market's moving rapidly though, Max. Like if we make it this cycle, right? And I have a high conviction that it's not going to be a problem. And then we roll back in during the recession, scoot back up, keep a little cash on the side to stay afloat, and then from there, like you're really going to make it, right? Because you got the recession, you got a double dip basically in the economy.
Yeah.
It's absolute insanity that people just aren't seeing it coming, right? I don't know. I don't know. I'm excited though. I'm excited for
I
what's
think things are
coming.
just I think things are just heating up right now. Like I literally think everybody thinks that they're late and they think we're about to top out. Like I actually think we are just getting started. And I know maybe it seems
Oh yeah.
crazy, but everybody's like, "Oh, alts have already like 3x'd off their lows. Like you're really going to buy now? It's so high up." Or, Bitcoin's at 48K. This is a, 2022 2022 high, and like you're about to get smoked. Like this is a liquidity level. And I'm like, I literally think we are in like inning 3 of a new bull market right now. Maybe inning 4.
Max,
But maybe
we
I'm
we
wrong. I could be wrong. I've been wrong before, but I'm seeing the signs that this is the very beginning, not the end.
Well, yeah, look at Total 3, man. Total 3 is screaming that we haven't even gotten started, right? Like this is kind of like the disbelief phase for altcoins, really. Like, they pull a few multiples off the bottom like that. Yeah, right there. Like that's nothing, Like people forget. It's the bear market PTSD, right? Like people forget what altcoin mania looks like. And like Tommy said, like we have not had it yet.
Yeah, we literally haven't, man. It's crazy. I mean,
well
I
we
get it. Like it feels more expensive up here, but we really haven't started. I mean, again, I could be wrong. Like maybe this is just peak euphoria and like
Max, you're
this
you're
is as
not
good as
wrong.
we're gonna get.
Just stop saying that. You're not wrong. Look, the whole point
And I,
the
by
whole
the way,
point
well, I don't do it to hedge. Like I'm not trying to like hedge. Like I literally put that out on Twitter. I'm like, it's all documented. Like if I'm wrong, whatever. Like I'm wrong. It is what it is. That's trading. But
hey, if
I
you're
just mean
wrong, you
like
go back to the drawing board.
I don't want anyone to just like hear me speak with conviction and do something stupid because I can't manage their trades for them. Like this doesn't. I don't want people to hear this and go, oh, time to like go over to my leverage account and just like 50x everything because Max is excited. Don't do it. Don't do any of that. Don't act on anything based on what you're hearing me say. You don't know me. I'm a guy on the internet. Keep that in mind. Keep that, all of us. You got to have your own convictions, otherwise this stuff will not work out.
Yeah, definitely don't follow me because I do some dumb stuff, but I'm able to get in and get out like most people can't. But I would say, look, I'll buy into a honeypot if I know I can get out in time. But the whole point is though, um, a lot of people don't know how to operate in this market like that. But I will say this, like we just discussed 4 cryptos side by side. Ethereum. I'm not again. This isn't a ploy on buy these tokens. I'm just showing you the simplicity of the exact same moves. Right. We looked at Ethereum, AVAX. These are totally different chains. ICP and Near. Right. Totally different chains. Um, and different founders and everything. All the bottoms, right, on the 3 happened at the same time. The moves up were almost the exact same percentages, little bits off here and there, right? A little bit more in some, a little bit less in others. But the point is, liquidity moved into the space pretty equally across the board, and it's just the first move on alts. Like, people are still going to say this is a bear market rally, just like they did with Bitcoin, with altcoins, right? And these altcoins are going to hold. They're going to distribute up there just like Bitcoin did when it bounced off of the 15K range and went up to like 20, right? And everybody said it's going to roll over and it's going to come back down again. And then it broke up to 25, and then it went up to 30. Now, this is what I'm seeing with altcoins. Altcoins are literally, in my opinion, Max, in their first inning. They have not even started. This is the first inning, first move up. A lot of people are fading it. Here, I'll give you guys an example of something that's actually in a value range. Something that hasn't moved. I looked at two different scenarios. I looked at L1s and wink, wink, I looked at L2s, right? And L2s arguably are still within value of a buy. Like, if you're looking at L1s, you're like, man, I can't buy this. L2s haven't moved yet. And a lot of people may sit there and feel indifferent about that whole point I made, but I would pull up Polygon real quick, Max, if you could, and just put it on like the weekly chart and just draw the line across all the lows and draw the line across all the highs.
Are you talking like these highs, Will, or what are you talking about?
No, sorry, angled.
Oh, you're talking about it breaking out. Like you're talking about like this, Will?
The
Yep.
breakout tour.
And the lows.
Starting where though? Like right here?
Yep, just like that. That is what we call a coiling pattern, right? You are at the low end range. Well, actually, I'd bring it down just a little bit more, Max, and just kind of pull those two together. So more to the yep. And now drag those two into each other. So that's what we call a coil. Now, can you coil a little bit lower? Sure. But if you are looking at something like Polygon and you're like, I'm looking for an entry, this is definitely a DCA spot, right? That's not financial advice. This is where I would start DCAing down, right? And continue to DCA until the breakout occurred. And once it breaks out, at that point, there's no more buying Polygon, right? Like, I buy until the breakout, and then I don't buy anymore because there's no point in buying the uptrend. You want to buy the downtrend. And this is the downtrend. This is the coiling. If you were to draw that in a coil fashion, you are nearing the edge of that coil. And in reality, if you scroll out more, Max, just scroll out really far, you got an uptrend into a pennant, and that is indicative of a new breakout to the upside, not a downside, right? This isn't a diamond reversal or anything like that. It's a pennant. That's a continuation pattern. So because we're seeing a continuation pattern after an uptrend, that means the uptrend is going to happen again. You're going to see a big move up for Polygon, and probably about the same amount of time when Ethereum actually starts to move, right? Because Polygon against Ethereum is actually underperforming. But I think once Ethereum starts to catch a bid, and you start to see Ethereum, everybody's on Ethereum again. Everybody's Ethereum maxi again. You know, first they were Solana, now they're back to Ethereum. These people that flip flop all the time. You're going to see Polygon really start to take off on that move. I've heard a lot of people say that it looks bearish here. I love hearing that because that makes me more bullish when everybody says it looks bearish.
Oh, Max, that
Especially
is
when the pattern plays.
propaganda.
It's not though. It's not.
Look at
It's
that.
not propaganda, bro. I'm telling
That's why I
you.
get paid the big bucks, Tucker.
I mean, look. If Matic comes back down to that lower trend line, what is that? Like 25%, right? Like, that's a decent move lower, right?
Like I said, DCA, bro. Like, if you're looking at this like, I need to get out here, I need to get out, because here's the thing: when Matic touched the high on that pennant, what did it do each time? It rejected almost immediately and ran down. What's it doing right now? It's hugging the top of that, right?
It is, yeah.
So if you're looking at this and like, oh, it's going to break down 25% from here, I think arguably you should look at it as it's pressuring the highs and could break out.
Yeah, I mean, if it does break out, on a pattern like that, you would target the high. Honestly, like, you would target that
At minimum.
$40.
Yeah.
At minimum, yeah.
Yeah, and that would just be your first leg going into a bull. Keep that in mind. If Ethereum starts running, Polygon's going to run right behind it. It's an L2 to it. Has a lot of stuff on the ecosystem. Again, I'm not telling people to buy Polygon. I'm just showing people patterns that they're not paying attention to because everybody's so hyped on specific tokens because they've ran so hard. Like, stop looking at the stuff that runs and look at the stuff that has value.
Will, why does Base not have a native gas token?
I mean, they do it ETH.
Oh, they use ETH, bro.
They use ETH, but it's kind of like the optimism.
It's cheap though. Yeah.
It's partially the
the Base ETH. Yeah. That's right.
Yeah.
I wish they had like a token like Polygon, man.
I do too, because I would be buying it.
Yeah.
You can bet on the optimism base mascot though for a price of 30 to 40 million market cap.
Yep, I am betting on that already.
might pull a bonk in the first half of next year. I don't know. I'm not tied to that thesis.
Yeah, I got so.
All right, guys. I think we wrap it up here. We've been going for about an hour and a half. I think this is probably a good place to call it for today. Guys, thank you so much for being here. As always, quick reminder to like the stream if you have not yet. And if you are new here, this is Market Check brought to you by Because Bitcoin. This is our daily live YouTube and now X show where we have five of us, me, Max, Snorlax, Will, Tucker, and also Jackus, who unfortunately couldn't be here today. The five of us, roundtable discussion. We talk TA, do analysis, fundamentals, have some fun with it, good discussions. If you are new here, please consider subscribing so that you can be made aware of when we go live, which again is 5 days a week. It's a really awesome time, so definitely subscribe. And then I guess if you're watching on Twitter, give us a follow. And then also please like and comment. Let us know what you think about the show. Now, if you check out the first link in the description below, it will take you to becausebitcoin.com/premium. That's where you can sign up for our Discord. It's a really great experience. Get to really see behind the curtain on how all of us are actually trading. We have active positions channels, and we also spend upwards of 2 hours every single day, one right at the New York Open and then the other at the New York Close, discussing and dissecting and leading community calls with the entire team, and then the Because Bitcoin Discord community. Again, it's basically 2 hours a day of a private show where we get to interact. You guys get to ask questions. It's just a really awesome experience. There's not a Discord community out there that works harder than we do, but I am not done there quite yet. Early this year, it's weird that it's 2024 already, we are dropping a new product called the BB Terminal. It's basically a Bloomberg terminal, but for crypto guys. That will be included in the Discord package. So it's going to merge into one. It's going to be our premium services. The price of our services are going up significantly. So right now it is $149.99 per month. It's great value for that. It's $5 per day. If you break it down like that, it's a cup of coffee. But that price is going to go up dramatically when the BB terminal goes live. So definitely consider, if this is something you're interested in, locking that price in, because you'll be grandfathered in at $149.99 per month forever. So definitely consider checking that out sooner rather than later. And you'll also be awarded the opportunity to be an early beta tester of BB Terminal, actually shape what the product looks like as we get close to the finish line. So with that said, I'm going to kick it over to Tommy to say a final farewell. But yeah, guys, like, subscribe, and check out that first link in the description below for our Discord and then BB Terminal.
Thanks, Max. Yeah, that's pretty much all from us, guys. A reminder that we will be back for another episode tomorrow around start time around 10:30, 11 Eastern time, roughly speaking, and Market Talk in the afternoon, 4:15 to 4:30 Eastern time. Usually when those shows get started, the timing always throws me off because I'm not an Eastern time guy, but I'm in one of the most, like, I feel like it's the most random time zone in America, but that's just me rambling. We hope you guys enjoyed the show today. Hopefully you guys are making some good gains this week. We've had a lot of volatility, so it's going to be one of those times where it probably stay a little bit off the leverage, or if you can't help yourself, maybe manage your risk. There's probably going to be a lot more volatility in this week, and I'm looking forward to trading it with you guys, honestly. And we're going to have it covered, of course, every single day, like I said, on the best, there is no second best, daily YouTube live stream. But thanks again, guys, for being here. I think that's everything from us. Like I said, we'll be back tomorrow, and have a great rest of your week. Thanks again, guys.